Jesus was with his disciples. He took just a few of them along, and they walked up the mountain. And there on the mountain, Jesus' body was transfigured into his glorified state, into the state that he originally had before he took on human flesh. And he was probably pure light. And the disciples fell down on their hands and knees, face to the ground, and said, "We can't even look at you, Jesus," because they too believed, we cannot look at God or we will surely die. And you know what Jesus did, right? You know what Jesus did next? Jesus reached down and he took them up. I hope that's what worship is. Each week we sort of get beaten down. Each week a bill comes that, how am I going to pay that? Or maybe for some of us, there's the news that our job is over or that our future in work is uncertain. Maybe a dear friend dies. Maybe the house we want sold doesn't sell, or the house we want to buy, the financing falls through. We get beaten down. And so we come to the mountain where Jesus lifts us up and he takes the veil off our faces and he says, "Experience my glory." And so, with such a hope, we do not give up hope. We do not give up this freedom. You know, I think about people. What keeps people from knowing the glory of God? Because we always have somebody else to blame. If we suffer from addiction, we blame the genetic gene that causes us the addiction, or we blame the thing to which we're addicted. We blame the temptress or the tempter. We blame the cops. We blame the man. We blame the system. We blame a bad experience in church, a bad experience with religion. I can't be a part of that because. And I can't be locked down in that anymore. And so Paul says, the Spirit of the Lord that comes upon you is freedom. And that's the hope that we offer to the world. That's the hope that I offer to you today. That you are not bound by the bill that cannot be paid. You are not bound by your addiction. You are not bound by the trouble in your marriage. You are not bound by the sorrow that is in your life. You are not bound by the hate that is transforming you negatively on the inside. You are able to come into the light of the glory of God. And so, Paul says, we are not discouraged. We are not discouraged. Last week we had our first meeting for the men's group. We're trying to get going, and Carrie, who is our leader, chosen by God to be our leader, our Joshua, gave us a song, and he said, what really caught his ear was that he's not discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Instead, be strong and courageous. We tried to start another ministry, outdoor ministry, and for lots of reasons it didn't work out. Carrie was working on that. The easy thing would have been, it didn't work out. Not going to do that anymore. But the courageous thing to do is to see what God is doing next. We do not become discouraged. We do not lose hope. We remain courageous. Be strong and courageous. I don't know what God has next in your life. I don't know what the Spirit has next for Hope Church. And that's a good thing, because we get to discover it together. It takes sacrifice to walk up the mountain. It takes some courage to look into the face of Jesus Christ. It will take some sacrifice, some courage, some change in your life, some willingness to give up something to come to study about the body and soul on Sundays or Wednesdays. I know everybody has an excuse as to why you can't do it, why you don't want to do it. And if you don't, then don't. But I will tell you this. Think of all the disciples who didn't get to go up the mountain with Jesus to witness his transfiguration. Once they heard what had happened, don't you think they wish they had made the trip up the mountain? Don't be discouraged. God has planned great things for your life. God has planned great things for his church. If we will take the veil off, allow Jesus Christ to take the veil off so that we can reflect his light. Epiphany is about the transforming time of Jesus Christ. The season of Epiphany ends with the revelation that Christ is the light of the world. That's what we celebrate today. But Epiphany is also the light of the revelation of what you can be. This season of Epiphany is about what you can be, what we together can be. If you take that veil off your face, when you look in the mirror, who do you see? Who do you want to see? Look into the mirror with unveiled faces, and you will see, if you will walk up the mountain with Jesus, the light reflecting back at you of the transformed person that will now go down the mountain to glorify God. A new person, called to go down the mountain and into the valleys and the dark places of life with a life now glorified. And so we sing. So our song becomes, as we come down the mountain, as with a prayer, that in our lives God would be glorified, that our transformed, unveiled faces would become the faces that glorify the Lord. Please rise.